I'm the Vacuuminator.
I'm Buster.
And this week in Tokusatsu, we're going to be discussing a fuckload of news, a shit ton of new releases, and a tale from long, long ago in the 20th century. But before all that, Buster, how have you been?
I have been stressed, but I'm also I'm back in a creative groove. I'm writing a video. Hopefully it will be out this week. Maybe. I don't count on it.
Woo!
Yeah, but progress is being made on the channel again.
Hooray!
What about you, Mr. Vacuuminator?
I don't know. I'm doing stuff. It's a weird time right now for me because I should be doing my taxes. I should have done them weeks
Tax
ago.
evasion?
No, I'll get them done. It's just it's going to end up being much later and much closer to the deadline than it ever has been for me because a number of personal things have been getting in the way that will hopefully be resolved during the end of this week because this week is spring break at my school, which I don't get off, but I'm allowed to leave earlier in the day because there's next to nothing to do in my building. So, I'm trying to focus on getting a lot of that shit out of the way, but it is slightly tedious while also being rewarding, if that makes any kind of sense. But you know what else is rewarding?
This podcast?
Yes, it's especially rewarding if you reward us by helping us out in the YouTube algorithm and giving this video a like, commenting on it, and subscribing to Modular Media, because Modular Media is the creative co-op that we're a part of and makes TWIT possible. We have lots of other shows on here. We've got Components, where we shit around for an hour or two every week. We have No Prize, where Boingo, myself, and sometimes Buster talk about comic-related things. And we have No More Games. Buster, tell them about No More Games.
We talk about games.
Oh, okay. Well, if you like those things and this thing, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring the bell in order to enable notifications so we get a little bit of a boost in the algorithm. If you're listening on a podcasting app, please follow us there to help us out with that algorithm and to stay up to date on just generally what we're doing and how it's happening. Follow us on Twitter at The Modular Media and join the subreddit r/Modular Media to post memes. But that's all the plugging there is for now. So why don't we get into some news?
Yeah, we got a couple Godzilla headlines for one.
Yeah, things are moving and shaking in the world of the Big G. First of all, in the form of action figures, because Super 7 has announced, we knew this was coming for a while now, but we've got the official full reveal of their TOHO Ultimates line, which is obviously going to focus a lot on Godzilla characters, because it's going to be 2 figures per wave. They're going to be 8-inch tall figures. I had to check the article for that. They're going to be 8-inch tall figures that are going to be primarily based off of the movie design while bringing in some of that more cartoonish Super 7 aesthetic to it. There's going to be a lot of accessories, a lot of stuff. These are premium collector action figures rather than the sort of soft vinyl or statues that we're used to getting for the Big G. So, pretty exciting, especially because the first 2 figures in the first wave are Heisei-era Godzilla and Biollante. Specifically, Biollante in her rose form, which you almost never get physical representations of. So I'm pretty hyped for these because, for those of you who don't know, Godzilla vs. Biollante was the first tokusatsu I can remember seeing. It was shown to me by a babysitter when I was 7.
I think you plan to do a video on it later this year, or
not specifically later this year, but just at some point in the future. That's gotta happen. I actually haven't seen the movie in about 5 or 6 years. I do need to rewatch it.
Should be on Tubi. Tubi has nearly every Showa Heisei Godzilla movie.
Okay. All right, so we just had a bit of an error with the recording software, but I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up by saying, obviously, I'm very excited about these new Super 7 Ultimates, and I'll probably be picking them up at some point in the future. They'll probably be out towards the end of the year, so we'll see how things get at that time. Buster, how do you really spoke about these? How are you feeling about them?
I mean, I never really watched Godzilla vs. Biollante. I'll care when I watch it.
Well, okay. Anyway, moving on to some slightly sad Godzilla-related news. Akira Takarada, is how I'm going to pronounce that last name? He passed away on March 14th at the of 87, and he is an actor, if you're not aware, who did a lot of bit parts in early Godzilla movies. He's actually in the original Godzilla as a member of the supporting cast. I believe he plays the professor's daughter's boyfriend or fiance. I can't remember if he's the boyfriend or the fiance, what his status is, but he plays that role, and he's also got some bit parts in movies like Godzilla vs. Monsters Zero. So obviously a fairly significant member of the Godzilla mythology, and it's said that he's gone. I hope the family is mourning as well as they can, and I hope he rests in peace.
Yeah, that's tragic, Like,
Yeah.
he had a good run. 87's good.
Mm-hmm. That's a good full life. But speaking of things that didn't get full lives, so for those of you who aren't aware, during the Disney era of Power Rangers, there were quite a few attempts at reinventing the wheel when it comes to a Power Rangers theme song. And if you dig around on YouTube now, you can find a lot of different demo versions of themes that were submitted for Power Ranger shows that didn't end up getting used. Seasons like Jungle Fury, RPM, I believe there's a couple Dino Thunder ones out there. Mystic Force is the most well-known one because that's the one that has two different attempts by Ron Wasserman that they didn't end up using, both of which are like a million times better than the actual Mystic Force theme. But this week, for the first time in quite a while, somebody discovered a new demo theme, an SPD theme by a gentleman named Chris Horaff. This was discovered by Ranger Board user Gunpla Rider, and it's not great. It sounds like the theme to a parody of a Disney Channel sitcom.
Disagree. Like, here's the thing, it sounds trash because the SPD theme song is godly. Like, if we didn't have the existing theme song, this would be fine. It wouldn't be great, but it would be fine.
It would be fine, but like
we have the actual theme song now, and it's like, one of the best.
They need to workshop it a little bit. Like, this is clearly a first take. Some of those. So, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. When like, it's clearly an underlying theme in all Power Rangers, but when you actually say out loud as part of the theme song "Unity through Diversity," I'm sorry, I burst out laughing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's like the chorus.
I haven't. In my defense, I haven't listened to this since it first dropped. I mean, really don't have a reason. It's fine.
I listened to it twice. It's fine. But moving on to the Ultraman news. Hey, are Dyna fans out there? I don't know. I don't really give a fuck, but Dyna's got an anniversary coming up, and there's going to be a show based off of it. And, of course, we're getting nostalgia merch. So if you want Dyna's transformation device, the Reflasher, there's going to be a 20... God damn, I can't talk tonight. A 25th anniversary version is coming from Premium Bandai. Now, I haven't seen Dyna. I've not seen the original toy, but goddamn, this thing does not look impressive at all.
It's an Ultra Flasher. It's an Ultra Flasher. Like, very, very basic. Although I think Tiga's looks better. I
mean, I've had key fobs that look more fun than this.
Maybe it's actually better like in show, but like it doesn't look that great. It's just a toy to mess around with. Oh, Dyna does have a cool suit.
Anyway, speaking of nostalgia merch, we now have the full reveal for Super Mini Plot GaoIcarus and GaoCentaurus, which, for those of you who don't watch Sentai, is the Wild Force Isis Megazord, and I forget what the name of it is, but the form where the Isis Megazord rides the Red Ranger Zord. I'm not a big fan of this set of Zords, so it looks good, but not something that appeals to me,
I love these Zords, and like it's nice to see them getting like re-released in some way. So I mean, I can't buy them because they're like going to be expensive as hell. But like, it's nice to see them like back.
I do think it's cool that they made like a bunch of different option parts for the elephant trunk sword, so you can have it look whatever way you want it to, because it had a bunch of different modes in the show, if I remember right.
Well, I think like more so it had a lot of like ways of being used.
Yeah,
like a lot of different Zords used it and stuff.
And hey, finally a new toy of the Deer Zord. Hey,
Yeah.
Morphin Legacy, how's it going? You doing okay? I don't know if you listen to this. If you do, leave a comment. Help us out in the out
What does
for
this
old
have to do
time's
with Morphin
sake.
Legacy?
I used to hang out with that guy. This is a joke I'm making, you dumbass.
Okay. Is like the deer like a mascot for Morphin Legacy?
Yeah, that's like his favorite sword.
Oh, okay.
He talks about it all the time, dude. Do you not pay attention? Do you not watch the product?
I don't watch Morphin Legacy, honestly.
Wow. Buster exposed in 4K right here on the podcast.
Yeah, look, I don't really like. I watch
Anyway,
bad
new
Power Rangers
Figuarts.
YouTubers.
S.H.Figuarts Kamen Rider Jeanne is coming.
Yeah, and it looks sick.
Looks pretty good. I had not noticed how, for lack of a better term, thick her thighs are
Oh
until I
my
saw this
god.
figure.
She, you know the kid under that's it's a
I do
teenager.
not have a thing for Sakura. I just noticed that about the suit for this figure.
Okay.
Also, there's going to be a new bonus part for the Revice Figuarts if you order this, which is just two things we've already gotten but slapped together as one piece. Hooray! That's exciting.
I don't like that. But
Mhm.
like the figure still looks good. I would pick
Yeah.
this up on its own if I can find it.
She's a regular release too. She's not going to be a P Bandai exclusive, so that's nice.
Yay! I so might get it.
Yeah, maybe one day, maybe possibly.
Speaking of S.H.Figuarts and stuff I might want to get.
Yeah. S.H.Figuarts Shinkocchou Seihou Kamen Rider O's Tajadol combo Eternity has been teased. We got one teaser image of it. It's coming. It's gonna happen.
Let's go.
Okay.
That's all I got because we don't. But like I really like that form and like O's has some of the best aesthetics, so it'll be nice to get a form.
Anyway, moving on. Tsuburaya Productions has finally revealed the design for Ultraman Decker, which was also the post-credit scene of the Trigger movie, if you watched all the way to the end of that.
Yeah.
And I really like it.
Yeah, I like it. I like the design. Like it has enough differentiated from Dyna. I like the galaxy part. I like how the ultra there's a bit of asymmetrical going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like
his
it
color
feels
timer's on his titty.
Yeah, it's on like instead of the center, it's on like just one side.
Yeah,
and
I like the kind of the big cosmic glow sticker he's got on his forehead.
Yeah. I mean, Dyna had that. I think it's like it's a very much like a retooling of Dyna, but I think this is a way more creative retooling than what Trigger had.
Mm-hmm. Especially with like the kind of armored up one arm. Feels very Battle Armor He-Man.
Yeah, kind of like he cobbled together it, and I'll be very interested to see what Decker has. Although we do get like in this teaser, we did get an image of Gut Select, so it's like, oh, like, well, is this gonna be a Trigger sequel?
Oh no, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope it's just another branch of Gut Select, and maybe you'll get Trigger as a cameo for like a couple episodes, and that's it.
He shows up as a supporting character halfway through.
Yeah,
he
functions as Zet as in like Trigger, you know?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Anyway, you want to talk about a first ever in history occurrence?
No.
Well, fuck you, we are, because for the first time ever, there was Power Rangers Lightning Collection news in March.
Why is that so special?
I don't know, but Twitter was acting like it was, so I thought I'd make fun of them for it. Anyway, two GameStop exclusives were revealed this week. A Mighty Morphin...
Who was acting like it was big deal?
I'm not going to name names on the podcast. We don't do that here. What the hell?
I thought you said Toei. I was like, Toei doesn't do pirate.
I said people on Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Okay, I thought you... Continue.
I swear to God, Buster only listens to like every third word I say, people.
That's everyone. I do that with everyone.
Well, anyway, the reveals were GameStop exclusive Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Swap Pack and Lord Drakkon Roleplay Helmet. These are pretty good, I'd say.
I mean, I'm actually interested to get the MMPR Swap Pack because it's based on Go-Go, and I actually like that arc from Go-Go as well as Go-Go in its entirety.
Yeah,
that's pretty
that was
cool.
Like the last time the Power Rangers comics were really banging, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
that was like right after Shattered Grid, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right after Shattered Grid. It was like Beyond the Grid was just starting. But like this was a great arc. And like I'd say even Go-Go after this was really good.
I really like Trini's new unmorphed head because they're trying to mimic the look of the comics. So they like changed up her hair and softened the actor likeness a bit. It doesn't quite work for Jason. He looks a bit like a Ken doll.
Actually, I think that's the better Jason head than what we've got, because the other Jason head looked very funny to me.
Mm.
Like that looks more standard, more like acceptable.
This is also just cool for me as a toy engineering nerd because this is the first female Power Rangers figure to have double jointed, pinless double jointed knees and elbows. And I can't tell with the pictures of Trini, but if you look at that first shot of Jason, you look at his crotch piece.
Yeah.
He has drop down hips.
What about that?
Okay, so drop down hips. I'm not sure, but the first place I ever saw it, and I think it's the first place it was ever done, that's an S.H.Figuarts engineering thing.
Ooh.
Where some of the original Figuarts, and it's still used in Figuarts sometimes today, it just depends on the character. Where the hips are kind of like there's a plastic stem that comes out from the crotch piece that on one end is like a loop that goes around a bar inside the crotch piece, and on the other end is the ball that the hip attaches to. You can pull that stem down and the leg will kick way higher.
Interesting.
Yeah.
As for Drakkon, I mean, it's a good helmet, but like, sick of this dude.
It's not the best Drakkon design. I'm
Yeah,
interested to see how well. I'm interested to see how well the voice changer will work, because apparently it's going to have a voice changer.
Ooh, was that good on Zed's helmet or nah?
I haven't actually watched a video of it on Zed's helmet. I need to do that. But I'm definitely going to be picking up this 2-pack because, again, I like this arc, and I collect all Red Ranger Lightning Collection figures. That's my completionist thing with Lightning Collection, I've decided. Which reminds me, I need to track down an A-Squad Red.
Back.
Okay. Anyway, let's move on to some corporate politics news, which
Hooray! No, I'm actually excited.
Basically every branch of Bandai Namco Collectibles, Bandai America, and Bluefin are all merging into a single Bandai company. Basically
all the Western Bandai branches are like, you know what? Why are we all like trying to fight each other? Let's work together.
Yeah, which makes sense, though it might fuck with your pre-order if you have a premium Bandai pre-order right now. So check on that shit.
Yeah, although I will say it is very. I thought Bandai of America was dead because I have not heard anything about them since they lost the Power Rangers license.
Yeah, that was like the only thing left they really had. They had a couple things before that. Like I remember Bandai of America. I think Bandai of America did the original Ben 10 toys, if my memory serves.
Isn't it? I don't know.
I don't know how much stuff they've done outside of Power Rangers. It's something I'd have to look into. But yeah, cool, interesting tidbit there. I don't have much else to say on it. Anyway, let's talk
later.
Okay. Anyway, let's talk about one of the biggest news items this week. In a week of big news items. Kamen Rider Black Sun and ShadowMoon suits have been fully revealed.
On the day you started Black.
Yeah. As well as there was an announcement that the movie is scheduled to release by the end of the year.
Is it a movie? Is it a show? I'm still confused.
The project. Yeah, I was stupid to call it a movie. We don't exactly know what it is yet, but man, I want to have sex with these suits. They're beautiful.
Yeah, they're really good. Like I know some people, it's not what like people are expecting out of a Black reboot, but they look cool. I really like ShadowMoon's design. They went like I kind of wish they went a bit more mechanical with ShadowMoon specifically, but you know it's still a good design. I'm
more vibing with Black actually. I like the kind of like fucking burnt marshmallow texture to his armor.
Yeah, I like it. It feels like an in between Shin and Zeto. And that's
amazing. Especially with the giant grasshopper like shoulder pads. That's the most insane thing I've seen out of a rider design in a while.
And honestly, like I'm really glad I like these suits because the silhouette looked garbage, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Like I did not like that silhouette. It felt a bit too bulky, but this is like, this is slim. It's cool looking. I'm excited for Black Sun. Just don't screw it up.
And not only does Black Sun have a new bike, a Battle Hopper redesign, but ShadowMoon's finally getting a bike. I'm not huge on either of these bike designs. Like I really liked them when I initially saw them. I've kind of cooled off since. but I do think they're both good and very fitting for both their writers. So it is kind of crazy that Battle Hopper now looks like a fucking H.R. Giger drawing.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what kind of role they'll have. Are they gonna be like double duo writers, then they'll fight? Are they gonna be rival enemies at the beginning, or like?
Mm-hmm. We need a trailer for this thing already. I need to know things about it.
Yeah.
Moving on. Shinichiro Shirakura. There, I said Shirakura instead of misspeaking. You happy, Buster?
Yeah.
That's an off mic joke. He's been doing some interviews this week. He did a big one with the Tokusatsu Network, kind of delving into the thought process behind the making of.
Tokusatsu Network translated an interview.
Oh, okay.
Makes way more sense.
He did an interview with a Japanese newspaper that the Tokusatsu Network translated. I thought these were two different interviews. Turns out they're the same now that I'm looking at them. But basically just delving into the thought process behind the creation of Donbrothers, which is very interesting to read about, and we'll probably talk about this more when we talk about the actual Donbrothers episode this week, but basically the thought process seems to be Sentai got really, really stagnant and it needed a huge shakeup in order to survive. Which is kind of what we'd all been theorizing for years about the future of Sentai. Though I gotta say, now that it's here, I have various likes and dislikes about the way they're doing it. But we can talk more about that once we get into this week's Donbrothers episode.
Yeah.
It is a great interview, though, so if you haven't read it, I highly encourage you to check out the Tokusatsu Network translation, which we're linking to in the video description, as well as all the other news articles.
Yeah, if you want to make sure we're not spouting bullshit.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of spouting bullshit. Oh wait, no, I didn't mean that. That is good franchise. The Kaiju news outlet has found via a casting call source that the MonsterVerse is full on continuing. There's going to be a Godzilla vs. Kong sequel. It's currently in pre-production.
I'm waiting for an announcement.
Yeah,
like official announcement or trailer or poster. I don't really like getting excited for movies that aren't even filmed yet.
Yeah, it's the most barely there announcement you can have of like, hey, this is happening. But considering we thought the MonsterVerse was dead for a little bit there, this is pretty hype to me.
Okay, I mean, we already knew about the Apple TV Plus show, but who's gonna watch that?
Man, I might torrent that 5 years after it airs.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Ultraman
Zeref is getting a DVD release from Mill Creek. It was literally announced as we were starting the show. I know nothing about Zeref. Buster, talk.
No, I don't know anything about Zeref either. I'd just be like, oh, news. It'll be interesting to learn through this DVD.
Apparently he has 2 movies, and they're coming to DVD on 1 disc, or possibly 2 discs, but they'll be sold together. So get hype, people.
Yeah. Speaking of Ultraman, we get to get into all the new releases, which include movies as well as all the episodes.
Yeah,
no. We gotta talk about our weekly 3 Dino Fury episodes. Okay. Starting off with Ultraman. Ultraman Trigger, Episode Z. Vac, you go first.
Okay, so I'm not gonna say like this movie was amazing, but it was pretty solid and it redeemed Trigger just a little bit for me. Like, this was a much better ending for those characters than the actual end of the show.
I do agree it's a better ending. It was okay. It was fun. Honestly, it feels like a movie or thing that would have been better if I actually cared about this.
It doesn't feel like insanely impactful as a movie. It feels like a really good free episode arc that's just strung together as a movie. But while I was watching the movie, the screaming muscles man and the cool jet pilot lady, they had cool moments in this that weren't just recycled moments from episode 1.
Yeah, it was. It really felt like they had more to do. It's just it feels like too little, too late, and I'm just like, oh, I want to care about you, but I only have this to go off of. Like, again, this would have been way more impactful if Trigger itself treated these fellas well.
Fair enough. And like, my big nitpick is just the main villain. I like him, but he doesn't quite make sense. Like, they say he's from thousands of years ago in the time of Yuzure and all that. but then they don't explain how he's lived this long. It's just like, oh, he was just around. And it's like, well, you should explain that. And also, I would...
Maybe they did, but just they went a bit too weird with it.
I didn't catch it at all, but like, the other thing is just like, they should have sprinkled him throughout the actual show. Like, he should have been in a few scenes here and there, just so like it would feel more impactful when he portrays everybody. Because when he first shows up, or when what's his name? When Kengo first comes back from the big MacGuffin, he's like, "Oh, it's you! That's so good to see you. It's cool that you're the commander now." And I'm like, when did you meet this guy? Because I don't remember him being in the show.
Yeah, the new character is a bit like, eh.
I liked him for the most part within the story. It's just like he would have been much more impactful if he had been in the show.
Yeah, maybe just like at least like as like a background, like
Yeah.
or like they mention him a couple times, like even in the final episodes, like how like sometimes they do that in Toei shows, where it's like they have like some movie teases in the show itself. I like Zed's part. That was pretty cool. It was really cool seeing his basically the final villain of Zed kind of come in and like be part of the scheme. That was neat.
Yeah. And like some really good effects works in this too. Like that's nothing new for a for a Super Raya production. But God, that opening shot where Pagos destroys that bridge, I was like, oh shit, we're in for some good shit here. Okay.
Yeah. I will say probably the thing I'm probably the best thing I could say about this movie is not about the movie itself, but how is it distributed. This is an amazing step forward for tokusatsu distribution in the West, with how like we just paid $5 to rent a movie that's already available in Japan the same day, and it's like that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Which is, it's kind of crazy. I watched this and I was like dreading watching it, and I had a pretty good time, and I was like, you know what? This would have been a nice afternoon out at the theater. I wish we could have gotten a Fathom events for this, but this is still really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, then it wasn't really in theaters in Japan as well. This was also direct to Super Imagination.
Yeah.
But it's still a big step forward for tokusatsu distribution in the West, like simulcasting movies now. I'd give it like I don't want to give it a score, just probably like it's higher than Trigger, but not really like probably like half what it's higher than Trigger, but not like.
I think I gave it a 7 on my drama list. Let me check.
7 sounds good. A 7 or 6 sounds good. Yeah. All right, Dino Fury.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Episode 7 of Dino Fury Season 2, New Leaf. I need to pull up the wiki to remind me of what happened in these episodes.
Because unlike me, Buster's not waiting. Buster watched it all in one sitting and doesn't bother to rewatch for the show.
Yeah, because I got other things to do, like watch other shows.
Fair enough.
All right, thoughts?
I kind of have the same opinion on every Dino Fury episode this week, which is this is a fine plot, but I have reservations about like how extreme the characterization was. Oh, I gave episode Z an 8 on my drama.
That's a bit high, but probably just because like Trigger, but good.
Yeah.
A Void Queen, we get to see her like start of villainy, and she's a pretty good villain with like her like kind of very much more of a commanding but still theatrical kind of character.
She's a fine villain. She's a very generic Power Rangers villain, but the entire time she's on screen, I just can't stop thinking about the fact that she has the same voice actress as Metal Alice.
Oh.
And she's just doing the Metal Alice voice with a different filter.
Dang. Oh. I mean, Metal Alice is a fine character. Although, like, I do like Ollie kind of like kind of like learning from this professor. He admires, like, the professor kind of finally gives him like, hey, stop it, like, you gotta grow. And
I like that somebody gives Ollie that moment, but it feels weird that it's not one of his fellow Rangers. Like, for an episode that's about him having to soften up towards Amelia's barely in this fucking episode, and that's weird to me.
I can see that, although I think she's in it enough, and we have the previous episodes to like go off of. I still think she could have appeared more.
Yeah. Like the thing is, like, I like this is kind of my opinion on every episode, is like I like the idea here. I just feel like the execution could do with a bit of a retool. Like, I don't get why Ollie's mom has to be stuck in a laptop right now. Like, she could have easily given him that you were kind of a dickish kid and you're carrying that into adulthood speech. Or maybe we could have had Amelia call him on his bullshit at some point, like Javi did with Warden Garcia a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe they just like, but sometimes you gotta like they're a bit too friendly with Ollie, so it's like they know him every day, so maybe that's just the thing they're used to. Again, I'm kind of delving into like what ifs and psychology of Power Rangers characters, so but like you get what I mean. There is explanations, but I'm not gonna like over I don't want to over-explain it. But you also get some like Tarek helping the Rangers and stuff. That's like just being like, hey, don't mess with like you gotta do the thing to do the thing.
Yeah. It's the start of the free episode arc we're in.
Yeah. It was like what probably like I'm remembering the other episodes that aired in this batch. Honestly, this one is a tad more forgettable. Oh, we also see the Patera Ultra Zords.
I barely remember. Oh yeah, it just looks like the T-Rex robot Zord, but with the wings stuck on it.
Yeah. So Tarek's on the run with his like drip or drought. I don't know what.
Yeah, which kind of takes us into the next episode.
Oh yeah. What happened in this one?
Episode 8, Serious Business.
Oh, I forgot to say. Oh no,
I was trying to push you to say that, dude.
Oh, Power Rangers Dino Fury Season 2, Episode 8, Serious Business. I forgot to transition. Oh my god.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Jesus. Anyway, every scene in this episode that isn't about Tarek sucks ass.
Oh, this was the hacker episode. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is cringe
scared
as hell.
me. It was kind of cringe.
Dude, I don't know who in the writer's room thought it would be a good idea to give Ion the same sense of humor as Fua Izuma, but I feel like they need to issue a public apology on Twitter.com.
Why Twitter.com?
I don't know, it was a joke, because, like, I have better jokes than this fucking show, apparently.
I mean, whatever. Okay, I will say it kind of scared me with like that a child in this universe could hack an entire corporation. I'm like, oh, YouTubers stand no chance. Oh.
Though, if fucking Stan is the one doing the cybersecurity for Buzz Blast, honestly, it's surprising they didn't get hacked sooner, because that guy can't figure out a damn tripod.
Yeah. It was weird. Like, I don't know. All right, this episode was weird. I don't even think it was bad. It just there was kind of an idea, but it just felt like nothing. And it's like, why was... I feel like this will be like, in a few years from now, this will be like, a YouTuber will make a video saying, Power Rangers, like, this weird episodes of Power Rangers, and this will be on the list.
This episode feels as out of touch and characterization-y about current internet as that episode of Zeo does about 90s internet.
Yeah, the one where one of the guys says, talk about politics on the internet.
I understand you're somewhat of an expert on computers.
Yeah. But this next one's great. Episode 9, The Hunt. Let's go. This is the best one. I really like this one.
I'll agree it's the best episode of this batch. I don't think it's like hype work.
It's not as hype as the Rhea Soldier counterpart, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah. My main thing is just like, again, I get what they're going for with Zato in this episode, but it feels a little like we threw our foot on the gas way too hard. Because like he goes from just being like the knowledgeable but passionate leader to just being like, no, fuck Void Knight. He could never be good. He's a pure bastard's bastard. And I'm just like, where did this come from? Calm down.
Well, I think it's like he's seeing his old self in Void Knight with the whole Sporix thing. Like, I feel like a lot of the big character self in Void Knight with the whole Sporix thing. Like, I feel like a lot of the big character beats kind of have to read between the lines. Like a lot, especially in this season. Like, you gotta you gotta read between the lines a bit with like, oh, this happened to this character before, so that's why they're doing this.
It's entirely possible, and like I can see that with the introduction of the Dino Knight armor mode in this episode. Because like initially I was like, wait, that feels a little out of left field, especially the fact that Zato knows about it. And then like just today I remembered, oh yeah, there's that one shot in episode 1 where the Morphin Masters are like, we'll make you mighty weapons that show the full team, and Zato's using Dino Knight armor mode. So it's like, oh, he probably had that thousands of years ago for a little bit and lost it or something.
Yeah.
And that's how, and Tarek just found it wherever Zato lost it. You got to connect the dots like that.
Yeah, and also, like, on Real Soldier, this power-up was made through, Gaisoric's sacrifice. Spoilers. So, like, it still connects, like, in a stock footage way, but, like, you can still, it's still very cool to, like, see this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, it was just a solid episode, and, like, the monster they had, he was pretty cool.
Mhm.
And it just, we got some good Real Soul fight choreography. We got that nice Dino Knight suit, which is, like, one of the best suits ever.
Okay, time for a hot take.
You hate it?
I don't hate this suit. I think it's a fine suit, but I think it's overhyped as fuck. Like, it just looks like an okay base form for a Kamen Rider.
You know what? Maybe you're right. Fair.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's nice to see this suit in action. Really wonder when that action figure's coming out. Like refreshing Amazon for like when they'll be available, but like. Yeah, although, like, it kind of does feel like oof, because Tarek does get kidnapped by Satora at the end, and it's just like, oh, well...
Well, he's dead.
Yeah. Kinda? Maybe? You'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. We screwed over. Man.
Mhm.
That's
By the
all.
way, we should probably mention, or somebody will say, hey, you forgot to mention, yeah, Tarek looks like a lever daddy in his civilian clothes. Lol.
Lol. People just saying... people are, like, saying his costume's cringe. Bro, like, he's an alien. And it's just... I find it okay. That's some nice suit. You know, he a hobo.
Mm-hmm.
Let the hobo be the hobo. Alright, yeah, that's all we gotta say at Dino Fury this week. Kind of a not as great a selection as last week, but we still got some bangers, like banger moments. How are you feeling on the season so far? Just like, because we're almost done with this.
It's alright.
Okay. Like, do you prefer this or season 1?
It all kind of blends together, to be honest.
Kind of makes sense. So you're not probably, yeah. Yeah, we'll probably like give like more final thoughts on the first half next week. When we cover the final 2 episodes. But now it's time for superhero time. Kamen Rider Revice, episode 27. Stop the tyrant's mayhem and the violence gone wild. This was okay.
Yeah, this is fine. This feels like an issue of Spider-Man. Like, this isn't necessarily a big seminal, like, diving into a character thing like we've been getting lately. This is just the next step in the adventure.
Yeah. And it's like, it is very interesting to see what like Vice's connection to Gifu might be. I found that very compelling. But like, I don't know, it's like, and we got more Oleta backstory and expansion, which I feel like he's gonna die soon. Any minute now, he's just gonna be like, oh.
Yeah. The scene where Mom came back was pretty nice.
Yeah, more tie into the Veil special that we still haven't gotten yet.
Yeah.
That's next week.
Hey, did you watch the trailer for the Veil special?
No, I want to
Okay.
I want to watch
did.
it. Like,
it looks neat. We'll watch it.
yeah, I mean we're gonna watch it anyway.
Yeah.
Not much to say about this one. It's very much like the next step, like Gifu, like through kind of doing some stuff. Oleta. It does feel like it's a nice setup, and I will do like what?
More proof that Altica is a sociopath, and that oh god, who were we talking about last night that we were like they're probably ADHD to some degree?
George.
Yeah, George has got a little bit of that. And major F in the chat for Daiji, because he just got a new form and immediately gets power creeped.
Yeah, like, oh man, it is refreshing to see the secondary not get all the W's in the Reiwa show, but at the same time, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's better than last week, but like we're still building, and I feel like next week's gonna be very interesting. Especially with what they're setting up with like Iki and Vice. Well, I will say, like, Vice and Iki had some great scenes in this episode when they were, like, captured by the Weekend and, like, them just kind of, like, mulling over stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
God,
it's
that must have been horrible for them, sitting there and looking at the Weekend's weird face. Do you think the Weekend made them walk through that mirror hall from the Super Bowl?
Oh god, oh no! And that's the only thing I know the Weekend for, honestly.
I do like the Weekend. That's why I keep making Weekend jokes on this podcast.
But yeah, I will say, like, I made this point on Twitter, but I just want to reiterate it. It's nice to have a writer show where the main writer's the most sitting again. Like, we haven't really gotten that in a bit. Like, everyone else has kind of, like, been overstepping everyone, and it's like, that's not a bad thing, it's just, it's nice to have kind of, like, Commodore Revice, the main attraction, Commodore Revice. You know?
Yep.
Other than that, like, it's fine, but we do got a V-Cinema for a different show. Combinator O's 10th Core Metal Resurrection. Do you want to get your rant out of the way?
I don't have a rant. What makes you think I have a rant, Buster?
I don't know, you didn't like it?
Yeah, I didn't like it. That doesn't mean I have a rant.
Okay. This is my Tengo Kaiger.
Oh, you poor child.
I love this movie.
This movie felt really cheap and lazy.
Okay, I can see why. Because a lot of elements do. It's a lot of callbacks to past episodes, a lot of repeated imagery, a lot of cameos, and, like, a lot of, like, weird twists. But
and, like, 2 locations.
Yeah.
And a lot of the suits you can see suit rot in this movie.
Maybe with, like, the new suits or the old suits?
Both.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, the fucking, the suit for the ancient warlord guy, like, you can see that those, the thigh sleeves are coming apart.
That might have been the point, but, like, fair. Yeah, I like, this was a fun movie, like, a nice little, like, cap off to O's, for me. It is a very much a tragic movie, because, like, it does not end happily.
Yeah, because Kamen Rider O's is barely in this Kamen Rider O's movie.
Well, here's the thing. So this movie's primarily focused on Ankh. And I do like how this movie kind of reinforces that Ankh is the secondary protagonist of O's. That's really cool. And he basically kind of becomes Commodore O's Tajadol Eternity by the end. And the twist they pull of AG, where it's like, oh, wait, AG died a while back, and now, like, some weirdo greed is controlling him. That was fun. I thought that was an interesting twist. And, like, kind of how, like, the villain Goda was kind of a warped version of AG. That was interesting.
I liked that until about 10 minutes from the end when I realized, oh, they're not going to fix it. They're just going to, really? Okay, you're just leaving him dead? So is this movie non-canonical then? Or is O's not going to be in future crossover? Also, what the fuck are you going to do with Ankh if he's attached to Shingo again? Like, that's the thing that really ticks me off about this movie, because, like, I know continuity doesn't always matter in tokusatsu, especially when it comes to Toei shows, but, like, goddamn, the ending of this movie is just like, so this is a part 1, right? Because, like, you can't leave these characters. This doesn't feel satisfying to me to leave these characters.
Not fair, I guess.
Like, unless we get a sequel to this at some point in the next couple of years, this is apocrypha in my mind because of the way it ends. Otherwise, I'd just be like, it's fine, it's not great, but I'll move on. But the way it ends, like, felt like a slap in the face to me.
I can kind of see it, but, like, I was okay with it, especially if it, like, I feel like O's will either be portrayed by Ankh from now on, or just they're just gonna, like, revival stuff and just, like, ignore this movie. Which, either one I'm okay with. I will say, I am disappointed that Burfax got to do nothing. What the hell? It just kind of comes out of nowhere. I hated that part.
Yeah, again, felt like lazy. Like, this whole movie really feels like they're just trying to sell more O's toys.
Yeah,
which, right on, most tokusatsu is about selling toys, but, like, still, it feels like lazy set piece after lazy set piece to me.
Yeah, I think it just, like, as a big O's fan, I liked it more than you.
I like O's quite a bit, so, like...
Yeah, it just, O's is one of my top 3, keep that in mind. It's like, I really like O's, really, really like O's, so it's like, I was more willing to excuse some of the bullshit, because I just really like seeing these characters in suits again. Well, it's kind of lame what they did to the Greed. Like, it's just like, one of them dies, and it's like, oh, we don't even get to see a fight with the other 3, just absorb into King O's.
Yeah, okay. It really feels like they just had enough time to shoot them and Kogami for one day. Because, like,
Kogami, I get.
Like, Kogami's fine. It's fine to do that with him, because, like, he just needs to show up and do his gags and then leave, and it's cool. I was surprised, what's her name? Kogami's assistant was in the movie at all. I wasn't expecting her to be back for some reason. But, the Greed get a huge shaft, and the villain isn't even that interesting. He's just like a generic scary man from a million years ago.
I mean, like, the real villain was Goda, but, like, King O served as okay.
Mm-hmm. Even then, Goda didn't feel much like a villain to me. He just a dickhead who was there.
I'm gonna drop a screen cap because apparently a new trailer came out for the Zenkaiger versus Kira Major.
Okay, cool. Stop looking at other shit while we're doing the podcast.
Sorry.
Oh, do like this week's Donbrothers and take the plot, the story, the facts, condense it, and tell it.
Okay, Avatar Sentai Donbrothers, Episode 3, The Lamp Thief.
This is the first episode of Donbrothers I've truly enjoyed.
I kind of a tad weaker than the other two, but it's still really good.
What the fuck? We can't agree on anything this week.
The argument week.
But no, I like this episode because this felt like an episode of Sentai to me. Like the other episodes have just been like a mumbo jumbo of bullshit that's like, okay, this could be something, but right now it's nothing. And then this was like, okay, here is a proper Sentai plot of the week with a little bit of the mumbo jumbo on the side. And I'm like, this I like. Give me more of this. Give me 2 to 3 of the Rangers doing a thing while the others are in the background. That feels like Sentai to me.
Yeah, it seems like we're transitioning there. It's just like the first 2 episodes was trying to like establish everything. But like now we're like, we're getting into a groove, the Sentai groove, if you will.
Yeah.
Saru Brother is a really fun character. He's very oddball. Honestly, it feels like each one of these characters could lead their own show. And it's like that's great. Like none of like they still support each. They still like work together as like a whole from like with their conflicting personalities. But like I really like how like each character in the show is like, oh, they could be their own star of the show and stuff.
Yeah. And like this is the week where like I truly started to feel that thing that people have been parroting around since the press conference of like, oh, the Avatar idea is like based off of that philosophy on the internet where you are very different from how you are in real life because you have a degree of freedom on the internet. Like this is the first episode where I really felt them playing into that with the search for Don Momotaro.
Yeah, and like the ending bit with him.
Mm-hmm. And like I do enjoy that. That being said, this feels like a theme they should have done like 10 years ago because these days the internet is shifting back towards people just being themselves and using their real name.
I guess, but like you still have that. I feel like it's still like a good encapsulation of that era.
Yeah.
I feel like when you have a show produced by old people, it's always gonna be a tad behind the times.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still just really enjoying this show. Like it really is really cute to see like Saru and like Oni sisters interaction. The Tokyuger change, I kind of wish they used the individual weapons instead of just the railguns, but like it was still cute.
I was actually kind of hype about that because those railguns always looked like really cool toys, and I wanted to get them back when Tokyuger was on. But
oh yeah, they are really good toys. It's just like I just like the individual weapons a bit more.
And there's some great fighting in it. This is the first time where we see the full team come together and act like a Sentai team.
Yeah.
Though they all still don't know each other. Like Oni sister and Don Momotaro are the only two that like really figure out who each other are this week.
Yeah, and then just like when like Oni's sister tries to pledge her allegiance at the end, Don Momotaro just goes nuts.
He straight up just goes "Begone, thought."
Yeah, and I'm like, what is he just pissed that he lost the match with the girl? Is like Sonoi? Or is he just like being wacky, like the Avatar, like the theory I had about Don Momotaro and Momotaro did completely different personality and stuff.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I love how different Sonoi feels from the other evil Sentai members.
Yeah, like the Brand Gang. Like yeah, because she's clearly like she has a motive, and I do hope we get more motives from the other two. Like, what do they seek in the others? Because like Sonoi's more focused on the monsters, while like the other two, they're kind of just bruisers, kind of wanting to fight the monsters. And I'm like, will that play into something? Will Sonoi like end up being like betraying them? Again, like I'm loving this show. Very fun show. Very marketable. Very cool. I like it.
Whereas for me, I feel like this week the show finally clicked for me. I wouldn't say I'm in love with it yet, but it's like, oh, I finally get the joke.
Yeah, or like yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's all we got.
Yeah, let's move on to
something.
Well, let's become Century King.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to fight each other.
Oh, we've been doing that the whole fucking episode, buddy. Anyways, I decided that fuck you, double fans. I'm watching Kamen Rider Black instead. So it's nothing to do with the fact that Black Sun is coming out. I've just always wanted to watch Black, and I happened to land on it this week when I was looking for something older to watch because I've got more free time now that we're not doing MMWP during the week. And I've watched the first 4 episodes, and Buster just decided to jump in alongside me because they haven't finished it, and I fucking love this show, man. It's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Like, this just feels like everything I like about the Showa era distilled into one potent potion.
Yeah. It doesn't quite reach the ZO highs for me, but it's still really strong.
Yeah, and it's a very similar kind of like hot-blooded characterization with that kind of that
Tragedy?
peak Japanese 90s trying to look like American 80s aesthetic. Though this show did come out. Yeah, this show did come out in the 80s. It's a similar aesthetic. And like, God, can I just fucking the black suit? Like, as much as I like the Black Sun suits, there will never be another Kamen Rider suit as good as Kamen Rider Black. Like, that is fucking gorgeous.
It's like peak Showa design. Like, it is so every bit of it just works so well with each other.
And I love that every time he's transformed so far, they taken aside to give you like a bunch of glory shots with smoke coming out of all the joints.
Oh yeah, that's such a cool a visual.
And it's that's like another thing. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you.
And speaking of the henshin, I really like his grip fist, where it's like he usually henshins when either thinking or during like an emotional moment. That's such a good touch, to kind of emphasize the tragedy of a Kamen Rider.
Yeah, because the first episode, that's another thing I really like about this from a story perspective. The first episode just feels like this crazy thriller movie where he's on the run. And there's so much story to his origin that it doesn't even end at the end of the first episode. The entire first 10-15 minutes of the second episode is just him going, "It wasn't always like this. Let's go back.
Yeah.
And oh man, I also really admire the almost guerrilla filmmaking attitude towards this with stuff like the effects. 'Cause this is back during peak time for special effects before CGI really took over. And I'm not one of those guys who's like, "Oh, CGI sucks all the time," but in modern tokusatsu it does tend to feel a little bit like plug and play, if you know what I mean. You know what to expect. Whereas here I'm constantly surprised with these little different fixes they'll come up with things and charmed by it. Yeah, the green screen looks a bit dodgy, but it looks dodgy because it's an early version of green screen, not because they had to make this movie in less than a week. And that scene in episode 2 where they're getting swarmed by grasshoppers on the boat. Oh,
that was so cool.
In a modern Toku, those grasshoppers would all be CG and the actors would just be batting at nothing. But no, they actually poured grasshoppers on the actors, live fucking grasshoppers. And then there's shots where there's no grasshoppers and they're batting at nothing. And they shot that being projected against the wall and threw live grasshoppers at the projection. Who would think to do that? But that's also so cool.
Yeah, very creative way to implement your effect.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I don't really dig about the show, and it's not even oh, this is bad, it's just Battle Hopper is never really gelled with the black suit aesthetically to me. It's a fine design for a bike on its own, but it doesn't feel like it fits in with the rest of the show.
Yeah. Honestly, most of my black aesthetic complaints come with Black RX, but we're not talking about Black RX, we're talking about Black.
I am going to continue on into RX once I finish Black, though.
Yeah. I heard RX is a bit mixed.
Yeah, I've always heard that too. And I should also say I plan to watch the movies in correct viewing order. So for those of you who don't know, Buster, movie 1 is episode 22.5 and movie 2 is episode 38.5.
Okay, I'm just gonna follow because you update the TWIT topic list we have with how many episodes you watch, so I'll just watch them.
Yeah. And I'm planning to watch between 3 and 6 episodes a week. I don't know how many I'll exactly be able to do, but I can usually get 3 out in a night, and I'll probably have 2 to 3 nights free to watch the show a week.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. The episodic plots are kind of forgettable, but it's still like a really solid show.
Yeah, and I like how very cut and dry the episodic plots are too. Like a lot of like what would be like denouement scenes in a modern tokusatsu are just him riding around on the bike while the narrator goes, and this happened, and this is how Black feels about it. And like, yeah, that does feel a little old fashioned, but it's like charmingly old fashioned in this show.
Yeah, especially with, like how well presented like the narrator.
It's fucking great show so far. If you haven't watched Black yet, hey, here's a good excuse to watch it along with us.
Yeah, and get ready for Black Sun and hope it doesn't suck.
Yeah, fingers crossed, buddy. But that's all the tokusatsu there was this week. So, Buster, why don't you go ahead and tell all the people where they can check you out on the internet?
Sup, I'm Buster Corp. I do video essays on the internet. And you can find my channel at Buster Corp, and you can find me on Twitter at BusterBoy3. That's all I got for today.
All right. Well, I am the Vacuuminator. I make videos about tokusatsu and other things on the internet. I'm at youtube.com/the Vacuuminator. I'm also on Twitter at the Vacuuminator and on Instagram at _Vacuuminator. But folks, that is finally all the tokusatsu we had to look at this week. So we'll see you back here next week for whatever happens that week in tokusatsu.